What is post-COVID-19 growth going to look like? You'd be forgiven for rejecting a fast answer to this one. Forecasters didn't exactly nail it in the post-global financial crisis period, and there's arguably a lot more uncertainty this time around. Is there even any point in trying to see what shape the economy will take in the coming months and years? Well, if anything, it's all the more critical. It's no exaggeration to say that there are very few, if any, precedents for what we're now experiencing. Oh, there have been pandemics before, but the world has never reacted to one in the way we've done this go-around. We build an outlook as we always do, by putting key pieces of the existing picture together and combining this with what we know of the economy's automatic mechanisms. Here goes. We entered COVID-19 with large pent-up demand. See my September 3rd column. Now this helped us to get an initial sharp rebound. That's set to flatten somewhat as second wave infections, already underway in most places, actually moderate our initial enthusiasm. Eventually we'll have to deal with paying for all of the stimulus, trading growth now for growth then. This to us, put it all together, and it looks a lot like a checkmark, a fast start and a slower finish. It's already obvious that it's not that simple. Getting the shape of the overall outlook is critical, but we're already seeing that there are winners and losers, lots of both, in this outlook, complicating the response to the situation. Take industries, for example. It's quite plain that for anything connected with tourism, 2020 is essentially a lost year of activity. The accommodation and food, arts and entertainment, transport, and aerospace industries are all languishing. Plunging oil and gas prices haven't made things easy for an industry already grappling with structural woes. Meanwhile, other industries are soaring. The rush to secure food supplies has created a global agri-food boom. Mining is doing well. Building supplies are also experiencing a boom of their own as people fix up their houses and so forth. Retailers are a mixed bag, but the online variety and their logistics support networks are red hot, as are their unstoppable stock tickers. Telecom and tech support and solutions are also in hot demand as the remote revolution continues. It's not just industries though. Countries face the same divergent paths. Take those that are dependent on the tourism or energy sectors. Well, they've lost their key source of foreign exchange earnings. Nations that are particularly trade dependent, well, same goes for them. Those that entered the COVID-19 episode with a dodgy debt picture will no doubt see their ratings suffer. On the other hand, tech-heavy nations with solid supporting infrastructure, well, they're better able to adapt and to help others adapt to changed ways of doing things. The differences go on. Age is a factor, as the young and less experienced will likely find it tough to break into an instantly rigid marketplace, all the while trying to cope with student loans, high housing costs, and so on. Older members of society are finding higher vulnerability to the pandemic and enormous risk and constraint on their activities. Income is also a factor. Millions have been laid off and have had to depend on whatever subsidies have been made available to them. Their future uncertain, they're likely hanging on to as much as they have for as long as they can. Well, at the same time, those that are still pulling down a paycheck have less to spend on and are seeing their bank balances swell. Talk about contrasts. The emerging picture is one of a divergent economy struggling to map out a reconvergence. Political and economic polarization isn't new. The planet-wide problem predated the pandemic. Current circumstances only seem to have exacerbated the situation. The bottom line? The overall checkmark outlook on the surface looks manageable. Canadian sectors like retailing and international trade look positively V-shaped and give hope that the rest of the economy might soon follow. But a quick peek under the surface changes the picture radically. There are two economies, one red hot and the other ice cold, with a third in the middle straddling the extremes. Under the surface, this is looking like a K-shaped outlook, which cries out for a creative, non-conventional strategic response. Until next week, I'm Peter Hall.